This is Hashtag History, episode 58. I'm Rachel.
And I am Leah.
Leah.
No, I'm not. I'm Leah.
I'm just Leah. And this week we are discussing the 1996 Centennial Olympic Park Bombing, an absolutely tragic incident in which a pipe bomb was placed at Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta, Georgia during the Summer Olympics that would take the life of one person and injure another 111.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yes. This bomb was placed by Eric Rudolph, an American terrorist who would go on to plant 3 more bombs over the course of the next 2 years. Perhaps one of the worst things to come from the Centennial Olympic bombing, though, is that the blame would be placed on the wrong man. Richard Jewell, a security guard on detail that night at the park, would be the first to spot the bomb. And in a classic "you smelt it, you dealt it" move, Jewell would be investigated by the FBI and publicly blamed for the bombing, socially ridiculed and isolated for several months before the FBI reshifted their focus to Rudolph.
For being a hero.
He was an actual hero. We have a lot to talk about this week. But first, let's drink. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Hashtag History,
the podcast for both history nerds and history haters alike,
where we dive into history's greatest stories of controversy, conspiracy, and corruption. Hi, I'm Rachel. Do you remember? I mean, this is like throwing it way back, but the very first time I recorded that, I was like, "Hi, I'm Rachel."
You
remember?
were like,
and I was like, "Cut it out."
Yeah, you were like, take out the hey.
Yes, remember?
It was like, hey.
No, it literally.
I'm Rachel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then we've recorded it multiple times since then. So this week's episode will dive deep into the scandal that takes place during the Olympics.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
Yes.
So I thought it appropriate to drink a cocktail that celebrates the Olympics. And guess what? I don't have any fun facts for you. I don't have any other details for you other than the recipe.
I'm interested in the recipe.
Okay.
So
fantastic. This is called the Olympic Torch.
Love it.
So it contains an ounce of tequila. I might have put a little bit more than that. 2 dashes of bitters. I might have put a little bit more than that.
I always put more than 2 dashes because it's like when you put 2 dashes of something, you're like,
what's the point?
Yeah.
I did the orange bitters instead of just like straight
regular.
The Angostura bitters or whatever they're called. Because the next ingredient is a 1/2 ounce of spiced orange syrup. And I had to make this because I couldn't find it anywhere. Basically, it's like a simple syrup. So like sugar and water. And then I added orange juice, orange zest, cinnamon, and nutmeg.
Oh my! And it smells incredible.
Yeah, and you're also supposed to add cloves, like is it mulling cloves? Is that what they're called? But I didn't.
But it smells phenomenal.
Yeah, so it's very cinnamony and nutmeggy, and not so clovey. And then you top it off with 2 ounces of champagne and a 1/2 ounce of lime juice. But I know that you brought the champagne.
I brought the champagne, and anyone that's listened to our show knows that we do cheap cocktails.
What is it? What is the brand that we always get of champagne? It's like
whatever it's called. It's the $10 champagne.
Less, like
you're right.
You spent $10 on champagne for cocktails.
So that was totally what I had. You know, when we put these cocktails together, we normally touch base with each other. Like, what do you have? What do you have? And we each kind of we collaborate when we bring together our cocktails. Sometimes we do still need to buy stuff, and I said I'm happy to go buy the champagne. It was totally my intention to buy the champagne. A day before I was going to go do my grocery shopping trip, I was gifted this bottle of champagne that when I searched the like barcode on the back with my phone, it is a $42 bottle of champagne, which I would have never in my lifetime spent that much on a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
So we're drinking one of the most expensive cocktails we've ever had, not because we spent the money, but because I was gifted this amazing bottle of champagne. So we're extra excited.
Yeah. I think it'll only make this drink even better. I'm very excited about this drink.
Me too.
I think cinnamon, orange, champagne.
Smells and looks amazing.
Yeah. So cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It tastes like applesauce, right?
Now that you said that, yeah.
Applesauce with champagne in it. Speaking of which, that sounds like a great idea.
Not for children.
I might finish this entire drink right now.
Okay. What should I talk about while you do that? I have an obsession with the Olympics. Yeah. So I was one of I wouldn't say the few, but the minority that was very sad, understanding, but very sad when they had to be postponed this year.
Oh, yes.
2020 summer in Tokyo.
I was really bummed too.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, what would you rate this drink?
Oh, that's a 8.5?
Oh.
9?
I was going to give it a 10 out of 10. I would drink this every day, all day.
Okay, then you would really like I do like it's like a whiskey apple cider. Whiskey, apple cider, cinnamon.
That sounds incredible. Is it warm?
No, but you could totally warm it.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, no, this is a 10 for me. I love my favorite cocktails are kind of seasonal, wintry, fall-y type cocktails. And so this one very much gives me that vibes with the cinnamon and the orange. I love it.
Which I'm surprised because it definitely, I agree, it's like wintry, fall-y. Tequila, though. That's like the one weird, it doesn't taste weird. It fits in fine.
Fits perfectly.
But like mentally, I'm like, that's
You're right.
weird.
It almost seems like maybe it should be whiskey or something, right?
Yeah. Maybe we should make a wish.
It should also be noted that we were both very nervous about opening the champagne. We don't appreciate doing that. We don't like doing that. We were hoping to catch Leah's husband just as he was headed out the door.
I literally chased him down the driveway, but he was already gone.
Yeah, because I did text Leah yesterday and said, like, so we are having champagne, so that does mean that Nico can open it, correct? And she's like, but of course, he will be opening the champagne for us. She chased him, and as he was driving down the street. So we unfortunately did have to open it ourselves.
Correct.
And
luckily, we had already had one drink. So we were a little more like, I tried doing it when you first got here and we were like, no, we're not ready for this.
No.
We had a drink.
For our last episode that we recorded today.
I felt more confident.
And then
I twisted it and was preparing for Rachel to take a video of me.
Didn't even get my video opened on my phone before
I touched it with my thumb. The cap.
Gentle touch.
The cork, if you will. And it might have shot into my neighbor's backyard.
It was a perfect, like, and up, down into the neighbor's yard.
I tried looking. Neither of us could see it over the fence.
Are you going to say anything to your neighbor? Like, hey.
I would, if they were in their backyard or if I could see them and wave them down. We've talked before. So I would have said, like, that cork is mine.
FYI, there's a cork from a champagne bottle in your yard. My apologies.
Yeah. So I would have told them that. But I don't think they're home.
Okay.
Rachel was on the ground.
Almost like peeing laughing.
Yeah. And I opened a bottle of champagne. That's all. That's what came of this. Is I opened a bottle of champagne, a $40 bottle of champagne.
I am proud of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And also, at some point, you're going to have to explain the champagne cork in your neighbor's yard.
Do I? Won't it just like mulchify or something? They'll just mow their lawn and it'll become part of their ground. It might decompose and make that, maybe that grass will grow longer.
Amazing.
You don't know.
Sorry to Leah's neighbors, that's all.
Or you're welcome.
Okay. Are we ready?
We are.
Okay.
That was really good.
Now, this episode is ridiculously, unintentionally relevant right now. For anyone else that has been Netflixing and quarantining like me, perhaps you have already watched the brand new Manhunt series that does an absolutely phenomenal job covering this incident. I've talked about Manhunt before when I talked about the phenomenal series on the Unabomber that they did back in 2017.
Yes.
This is one of the few series that I have watched multiple times. Okay. It's that good.
Okay.
Their most recent series is about the very incident that we are talking about today, the Olympic bombing, and it is so good. The guy that plays Richard Jewell in the show is the same guy that played serial killer Ed Kemper in the Mindhunter series, and he is just so good.
I think I'm actually confusing Mindhunter with the series.
Manhunt?
Yes.
Sure. And I've done that before, too.
I think that I'm thinking
they're meshing.
Nico has seen Mindhunter.
Okay,
so
totally
I
get
have
it.
not watched Manhunt
So good.
Okay.
And then if you have not watched the Manhunt show, I highly recommend it. But even if you haven't watched that series, perhaps you've seen the 2019 Clint Eastwood movie titled Richard Jewell. Have you seen it?
Oh.
That one I actually saw in theaters. Remember when we used to go to movie theaters,
What?
guys? Yeah,
What
I know
is
that's shocking. That movie is fantastic.
Really?
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good. The actor that plays Richard Jewell in that movie, he's also the same doofus that played the guy that helped orchestrate the attack on Nancy Kerrigan in the I, Tonya movie. He's so good. But now that I've told you all what you should be binge watching, let's get to our coverage of this incident. It was July 27th, 1996. The Summer Olympics had been going on for about a week at this point. And this is the Olympics that had really iconic moments. The 1996 Olympics is when Muhammad Ali was the one that lit the Olympic cauldron. This is also the Olympics that we get the absolutely iconic footage of 14-year-old gymnast Carrie Strug when she did the vault, and you can tell she had severely injured her ankle. But she did the vault again, this time landing on both feet, but then instantly she hobbled onto her good foot.
And got like carried off.
She literally got carried off the floor.
Yeah.
The world would later learn that she had performed this stunt with 2 torn ligaments.
Like, I've sprained an ankle before, and I thought it was the end of my world.
Oh, absolutely. Prior to the Olympics, some vacant lots had been converted into a park named the Centennial Olympic Park that would serve as a central hangout location for the more than 2 million people that came to Atlanta to watch that year's games. On this particular night of July 27th, thousands of people gathered at the park to listen to Jack Mack and the Heart Attack band play.
First of all, would people be interested in like a hasty history on like how the Olympic Games actually ruins the economy of the cities it visits?
That sounds very good.
Okay.
Let us know.
Let us know. Because I know all about that. I am a Recreation Parks and Tourism Administration major, and I know all about that. So please.
You should cover that.
Yeah?
That would be so good.
Okay.
I love that.
Perfect.
Well, because basically, like, they spend all this money to build up these infrastructures, and then they end up losing money, right?
Yeah, and then they end up over time losing money because they have to, like, the upkeep of the not just the arenas, but it's like the roads leading to the arenas. And actually the ones that happened here in California, I think it's like it's not Slate Park. It was ones that happened in Tahoe essentially, but there was like infrastructure all throughout the Sierra Nevadas. And like it f***ed those areas up because they like put roads that led to these arenas that
no one goes to. Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in that.
Hasty history.
I love it.
Okay.
A 33-year-old man named Richard Jewell was there at the park that night, too, serving as a temp security guard for the event. From what Jewell says, he was walking around near the concert when he spotted a bag underneath a bench. He alerted another officer who reached out to some people that had just been sitting at that park bench for probably 30 or so minutes prior. When those people said, like, no, that's not my bag, this incident was immediately escalated to the Georgia Bureau of Investigations that called in members of their bomb squad to inspect the bag.
Could you imagine being that person that was sitting on top of a bomb for 30 minutes?
Insane, right?
Yeah.
As they were inspecting the bag, Jewell and other officers ushered the crowd that had gathered to hear the concert away from the bag location. Jewell personally ran to the 4-story sound tower and forced the crew that was running the lights and sound for the music show to evacuate. Only a few minutes into this evacuation, a bomb that was inside that mysterious bag would explode. This bomb used a steel plate, so it's like the steel plate was underneath the bag, and it was used as a means of directing the explosion in a certain direction.
Okay.
It was actually believed that at some point the bag was unintentionally shifted ever so slightly, eventually making it so that the damage from the bomb wasn't as great as it was intended to be.
Oh, good.
Yes. This bomb also contained nails that shot out at those nearby. In fact, the one death to occur as a result of this incident was that of 44-year-old Alice Hawthorne, who was killed when a nail that shot out from the bomb entered her skull.
Yeah, that's Terrifying.
Horrendous. Amazingly, despite all of this, Olympic officials decided to continue the games. So there's that.
Oh, good.
That's gross. Now, initially, Richard Jewell, this security guard that just happened to be in the right place at the right time, was paraded as a hero. We can't be certain just how many people would have been killed or seriously injured had it not been for Jewell. But can you imagine? Had he not been there, evacuation efforts would have never occurred, and there would have been dozens, maybe hundreds of people right there in the line of fire.
Yeah.
And those people in the sound tower would have never had a chance. And I mean, look at this picture of the damage to the sound tower.
That's the sound tower. And yeah, it's exploded.
People would have lost their lives.
100%. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a plastic and metal debris just all over the place on a grassy field. Yeah.
So Jewell's paraded as this hero, right? But as the FBI begins digging into his past, they start finding things that make them feel he's a bit sus.
A little sus.
A little sus. Jewell was seen as someone that was law enforcement obsessed. As they looked into his past, they found that he had had several jobs in law enforcement that had all soured. For example, he was working at the Habersham County Sheriff's Office as a guard. While there, he was caught after hours impersonating a police officer doing security work at a nearby apartment complex.
Ooh.
Yeah. Later, when he was working as a campus police officer at Piedmont College, he would eventually be forced to resign. He had received a lot of critique during his employment at the college for several of the arrests that he made. While there, the college felt that many of the arrests that he made and wrote grandiose reports about were actually for very, very minor infractions. In fact, the president of the college, Dr. W. Ray Clear, would call the FBI tip line after he saw the media praising Jewell for his involvement in the Olympic bombing and told them that they should shift their focus to Jewell as the perpetrator.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I also don't think it helped that Jewell, he's 33 years old at this time. He's living with his mom at the time of the bombing. He's working a temp job and was seen as someone that was kind of down and out, but obviously had ambition and desire to be the hero.
So a millennial.
Yes, actually, yes.
You're describing the average millennial right now.
Actually, yes, but 20 years ago?
Yeah. Before millennials, yeah.
Millennials before millennials.
He was a hipster millennial.
I love it. I love it. The theory started circulating that he had placed the bomb and intentionally discovered it so that he would be the man remembered as the one that had evacuated people and saved dozens of lives. And exactly 3 days after the Centennial Olympic Park bombing, the FBI officially announced that they were focusing on Jewell as a person of interest.
Just knowing what we know now, what you just said in the intro that he actually wasn't the perpetrator is that's so sad.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
It's totally devastating. But if you've seen the movie, there is actually this brief period of time in which Jewell didn't realize that the FBI was considering him as a person of interest. And just like in the movie, FBI agents really did get him to come into the office under the guise that he was helping them with a training video. Partway through this training video ruse, though, the agents asked Jewell to sign a waiver of rights. In Jewell's own words, when he was later interviewed by Vanity Fair, he said, "At that moment, a million things were going through my mind. You don't give anyone a waiver of rights unless they are being investigated. I said, I need to contact my attorney. And then all of a sudden, it was an instant change. What do you need to contact your attorney for? You didn't do anything. We thought you were a hero. Is there something you want to tell us about?"
Yeah. Off.
I love it. Yes, exactly. It all became very real on July 30th, 1996, just 3 days after the bombing, when an issue of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution was published with a headline that read, Leah, would you like to read?
FBI suspects. Hero guard may have planted bomb.
A police reporter named Kathy Scrugg wrote the article after receiving a tip from law enforcement that the FBI was officially looking into Jewell. This is when all hell broke loose. I'm going to have you check out one other picture here. This is what it looked like outside of Jewell's mom's place shortly after this headline hit the press.
It looks like a concert. All of the media that were supposed to be at the Olympics are now here.
It's flooded, right?
I would say I can count in that one viewfinder. There's 30 people there. 40, 30. plus people.
And this is a very small picture.
Yeah. It's zoomed.
Outside of his mom's apartment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
While the media was watching the house, FBI agents would come in and search it eventually twice over the course of the next several months. They also placed Jewell under 24-hour surveillance, and Jewell would assist them with this. He intentionally wore brightly colored shirts so that they would easily spot him when they were watching him. Now, if this was me and I wore brightly colored shirts so law enforcement could easily spot me, that would be sarcastic AF, right? It would be me making a statement, and that statement would be the middle finger,
but just based on what you said about him, that's not... He was literally like, I want you to see. He was sincere. Yeah, it's sincere.
Exactly. For Jewell.
He's like, I want to help you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that you can keep your eye on me at all times and see that I am up to no shenanigans.
That's exactly it. He had this like unhealthy amount of respect for the local cops and the FBI. Remember again that he desperately wanted to work in law enforcement. In fact, in one of his first interviews before it was revealed that the FBI was looking into him as a suspect, he said on national television that he hoped his involvement in the bombing incident would earn him a job in law enforcement.
This episode is brought to you by Old Timey Crimey. In each Old Timey Crimey episode, hosts Scott, Amber, and Christy dive deep into a different true crime story, including some of our personal favorites like their 3-parter on Jack the Ripper, or a deep dive into Jolly Jane Topin, the nurse of our nightmares, and so many more. They have over 100 episodes out now, so whatever your interest, they've got an episode for you. And for all you history podcast only listeners out there, don't you worry. Old Timey Crimey focuses only on true crime stories from the 1950s and before because, according to them, the good old days weren't always so good. We promise these often hysterical deep dives into historical true crime will be right up your alley because you know they are right up ours. Check out Old Timey Crimey wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, that is Old Timey Crimey.
It was later revealed that an anonymous 911 call had been placed just 9 minutes before the bomb had detonated at Centennial. The 13-second long call was clearly made by a man, and in a very slow and calm manner, he stated, "There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes. After Jewell's attorneys were able to determine that there was no way that he could have made this call and been back to where he was in the park by the time of the bombing, and also the fact that he had passed a polygraph exam at this point, they began to ease up.
Good. You want to know what's sad is I looked him up just to feel somewhat informed on this episode. It still pins him as like the main suspect or whatever.
There's still people that believe that he was responsible for the Olympic bombing.
There's stigma around him still to this day.
Yes.
And it's f***ed up. Sorry.
Yes. No, it is.
Yeah.
There are still people that believe him to be responsible. But Jewell lived the next 88 days of his life under absolute scrutiny and hatred. On October 26, 1996, Jewell received a letter from the Atlanta U.S. Attorney that essentially said, as simply as it can be put, that based on the evidence developed to date, he was no longer considered a suspect. But they did not issue an apology. In a 60 Minutes interview that Jewell did, he was asked if he ever thought, after everything that happened, if he would ever get a job as a cop now.
No.
Jewell's response is astounding, actually. He admits that he does not believe a career in law enforcement will ever be a thing for him, and that is something he struggles to reconcile with every single day. It's just amazing that he would still want anything to do with a field that completely screwed him over. On January 16th, 1997...
I was 6 years old. Five.
Yeah.
You were 5.
I don't know why that took so long. There's only 1 year difference between us. I'm like, God, this is really difficult.
You were like, really struggling. Yeah. I saw your eyes going from wall to wall.
Yeah. On January 16th, 1997, in Sandy Springs, a suburb in the Atlanta area, a bomb exploded at an abortion clinic. After law enforcement arrived a second, intentionally delayed bomb went off. Upon examining the bombs, it was realized that a steel directional plate and nails had been used, much like the ones at Centennial Olympic Park just months before. The very next month, on February 21st, 1997, another bomb went off at the Other Side Lounge of Atlanta, an LGBTQ bar. And then on January 29th, 1998, another very similar bomb exploded at another abortion clinic in Birmingham, Alabama, that killed a police officer and severely injured a nurse. Law enforcement officially made the connection between this series of bombs and the bomb placed at the park during the 1996 Olympics.
I bet the bomber was like, how dare this guy get credit for my shit?
Yes and no.
Okay,
we'll get to that. Yeah. The FBI began the hunt to locate the person responsible based on the locations that were being bombed. It doesn't take much brain work to understand the motives of this guy. He was clearly a far right extremist that was incredibly violent. The following day after the Birmingham bombing occurred, news organizations received letters from someone claiming to be a part of the Army of God. This person accepted responsibility for the bombings and explained why he did what he did by saying that anyone performing abortions deserves to die. When the Birmingham bombing occurred, 2 witnesses noticed that while the majority of people ran toward the site to offer help, there was one suspicious-looking guy that was doing the exact opposite. He was calmly walking away. These witnesses were able to provide law enforcement with a physical description of the man and the license plate number for the vehicle he drove.
How? That's great.
Oh my God.
Have you ever been in like a little traffic incident and like tried to remember the 7 digits of the license plate in front of you and you cannot? Thank God I have a little camera now.
Yes, you do. No, I've always thought that. I think about that stuff all the time, just being like a true crime fanatic and being a history fanatic, just like at any moment I could be involved in an incident that would require my retention of information. After doing some digging, federal agents were officially able to connect 31-year-old military-trained Christian extremist Eric Rudolph to the bombings. In May 1998, Rudolph was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and a $1 million reward was offered to anyone that could provide information that would lead to his capture. Now, here's the worst part. Are you ready for this?
No.
Yeah, you're right. You're not ready for this. You're not. Rudolph would remain a fugitive for the next 5 years, living in the Appalachian Wilderness in North Carolina. This area of land is some 61,500 square feet. Check out the picture here, Leah. And this is just a portion of it. This is like very minuscule screenshot.
I know. Appalachia. It's crazy. It's mountainous regions.
Would you ever discover someone in there? This is only a tiny screenshot. No.
It's crazy. There's nothing. It's forest.
At one point, more than 200 federal agents were searching in these woods for Rudolph.
Could you imagine? You just go for a hike every day.
But they just couldn't find him. In total, this manhunt would cost more than $20 million.
Is that in man hours? Like, what is that?
I think it's everything. It's the equipment. It's the time. While Rudolph has always claimed that he survived in the woods all on his own for 5 years, some don't believe this could be true. Some believe he must have had some help. Now, in the Manhunt show that I love, this is where I started to get really angry. Because this is where the show dives really deep into the theory that Rudolph had help from a local anti-government extremist Christian militant group. Now, I'm not saying that this didn't happen. We do know for a fact that many people in these nearby white Christian communities did support Rudolph, not knowing at this point that he had also been involved in the Olympic bombing and believing that the death of the officer and the nurse at the most recent abortion clinic bombing had been an accident. Many of these townspeople supported this army of God man that wanted to destroy abortion clinics and LGBTQ bars. We know that there were people in town that had bumper stickers on their cars that said, "Run, Eric, run." That is absolutely unacceptable. But just how much assistance they offered to Rudolph while he was on the run is unknown. On May 31st, 2003, a rookie police officer spotted a man in the early hours of the morning looking through a dumpster behind a Save-A-Lot store in Murphy, North Carolina.
Oh, of course, it's North Carolina.
And of course, it's a Save-A-Lot. When he went to check out what was going on, he instantly recognized Rudolph, even though he was clean shaven and had his hair dyed. The officer immediately arrested him.
Good.
In exchange for pleading guilty to the 4 bombings and revealing the locations for where he had buried 250 pounds of dynamites across the North Carolina forest, Rudolph was offered a plea deal that allowed him to avoid the death penalty. There is still the question of why Rudolph would bomb the Olympics, though, right? It doesn't really seem to fall in line with his anti-abortion, anti-gay rhetoric. All was explained in a statement that Rudolph made in the course of his plea agreement in April of 2005. Are you okay with reading it, Leah?
I mean, I might slur it, but it's fine. In the summer of 1996, the world converged upon Atlanta for the Olympic Games. Under the protection and auspice of the regime in Washington, millions of people came to celebrate the ideals of global socialism. Multinational corporations spent billions of dollars, and Washington organized an army of security to protect these best of all games. Even though the conception and the purpose of the so-called Olympic movement is to promote the values of global socialism as perfectly expressed in the song Imagine by John Lennon, which was the theme in the 1996 Games. Even though the purpose of the Olympics is to promote these ideals, the purpose of the attack of July 27th was to confound, anger, and embarrass the Washington government in the eyes of the world for its abominable sanctioning of the abortion on demand. The plan was to force the cancellation of the games, or at least create a state of insecurity in order to empty the streets around the venues and thereby eat into the vast amounts of money that had been invested into them.
He's a fucking psychopath, right?
Oh, God, that was a mouthful. I know I'm a little tipsy, but that was a mouthful.
Mm-hmm. It was.
That was hard.
Rudolph nowadays is at the ADX Florence Supermax Federal Prison in Florence, Colorado, where he spends 23 hours per day alone in his cell and will remain for the rest of his life. Fun fact that is not really that much of a fun fact is that Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, is also an inmate at the same Supermax Federal Prison. So what came of Richard Jewell, right? For the next several years following the Olympic bombing, he would engage in filing and defending himself in several lawsuits. Some of the bombing victims sued him before those claims were dismissed.
Yeah.
And then he filed his own fair share of libel lawsuits. He filed against the FBI, against CNN, ABC, NBC, the New York Post, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and against Piedmont College for directing the FBI to Jewell in the first place. Jewell was relatively successful in all of these suits, with the exception of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They refused to settle. And in 2011, the Georgia Court of Appeals ended up ruling in favor of the newspaper. Despite his doubts and grief that he would never work in law enforcement again, Jewell actually did go on to become an officer in Pendergrass, Georgia, and later a deputy sheriff in Meriwether County, Georgia.
Look out, Georgia. I'm not saying, he did nothing wrong. But he's very clearly obsessed with law enforcement, which is a little weird.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
Very sadly, on August 29th, 2007, Jewell's wife, whom he had married not even 10 years prior, found him dead in their bedroom. He died of complications of heart disease and diabetes. He was only 44 years old. It has been reported, though, that up until his death, he would return to Centennial Olympic Park every single year on the anniversary of the bombing to place a rose where Alice Hawthorne had died on that very tragic night.
As much as we joke and stuff, I feel for him. It's someone who maybe is obsessed with law enforcement, maybe wants to be a cop and has no means to be that.
Yeah.
But he saved people's lives. He has good intentions, and was accused of the exact opposite of that.
Yep.
So I feel for him.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Hashtag History.
We will share the pictures that we discussed on the episode to our Instagram. And all sources used to put together this episode can be found on our website at hashtaghistory.com. pod.com.
Subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you use. Maybe you like Spotify. Maybe you like Apple. Maybe you like Google.
Ooh.
Maybe you like Podkitcast.
Podkitcast.
Pocketcast.
Pocketcast.
Pocketcast. Whatever it is that you prefer, subscribe to us on that platform. Share about us with your friends and your family, and then give us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts.
We super appreciate those rates.
We so appreciate that.
Yeah. Speaking of Instagram, be sure to check us out on there. Our username is #history_podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh. Ooh. Hee-hoo.
Ha-ha. This week's episode...
Sorry. Start again. That was obnoxious. Start again. Actually, speaking of being obnoxious, just really quickly, remember I told you the lady that when I was doing my donation or whatever, she and I had this great conversation about women's history.
Yeah.
She was like, aren't we so... she's probably like 20 years older than me. Mm-hmm. But she's like, aren't we so lucky to have been born in the time period that we did? Like, can you imagine being born in the early 1900s and not having the right to vote? And I was like, I would have been obnoxious. And she's like, you're right. You would have been obnoxious. You have your
pause? Yeah, I do.
Yes. Let's pause.
Pause.
Sorry, future Leah. Or you're welcome, future Leah, is what I meant to say.
Seen it in my peripheral.
Okay. Well,
peripheral?
Yeah.
Vision. Periphery.
That's not a word.
Know.
Mund. The mund. The mind.
Here's the thought. No, it's less frustration. There's frustration. I'm drunk.
Champagne, which... Are you trying to pause?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm too. I feel not drunk. I feel like right now, when I'm trying to push myself up to like shift, I do feel like I almost didn't have the support to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm drunk.
Okay. 1999. On January 20. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yep. Yeah, it was weird. Like it doesn't take like a mat. It doesn't take...